Hi, hi, hi. How are we today? Greetings from the Middle East. It's hot, and between my dog and four cats, I literally sleep and wake up with like fur all over my fucking face, and sometimes even like in awkward places. Hey, and why the fuck not? Let's make a video. Today's video is about, before we get there, yesterday in the video, I actually claimed failure. Let me describe this beautiful thing that happened. I genuinely, I don't want to say slept better because I couldn't sleep until like 1, 2 o'clock. But I spent like an hour after I did my videos, and I went to the bed, and I just kind of like spent an hour between looking at the ceiling and trying my best to move around, just play with the cats, play with the dog, and just try to kind of like get myself tired to sleep. Which over the past 3, 4 weeks has been genuinely like I'm tired of reading something online or just kind of like engaging with something. And then as I was doing that, I realized like it was like just kind of like not working. So I took the dog out. I used an excuse. I took her out for a walk so she can poop, pee, and kind of like smell on some random stuff. I had some hot cocoa. I found some hot cocoa seller on the street, and I love it because like these days we have these, especially because I live in a pub area. So there are a couple of like people on bikes that have like designed their bikes in a way that has all sorts of like ramen noodles, kind of like late night snacks, and just they pass around and they with the workers of the actual pubs they kind of like sell to them. So I got one and I got a hot cocoa, decent price as well, right? Like it was like almost a buck. So it was a good price and it was like thick. So I had it. I came back home and I was not able to fulfill the whole don't turn the computer on. But it's fine because I was reading a manga for the third time. It was like this is like super intense, and I kind of wanted that energy. It's like what happens when you fail, kind of thing. But so I like basically marinated on top of the failure, and I kept like saying to myself, like, Tari, okay, you failed. Like, what exactly did you fail in? I had no idea. It's just like it was just things were not moving, right? Any new stage, there's kind of like that thing that kind of like you have to explore and discover. And videos ago, man, I talked about like mistakes, and videos before that, I talk about other stuff. And it's just very, in a very interesting way, it really boils down to the humility of failure. And so, funny enough, I woke up today, I don't want to say with drive, but the energy I had that was all over the place, or just kind of like beating itself up, right? It's like putting magnets inside like a jar and they're not really finding their alignment. They're kind of like always like bouncing on top of each other. So what happened was today I just kind of like me confessing failure yesterday kind of like clicked differently, and I woke up with just like a clear mind to do stuff regarding the day. And I I I basically I walked and walked the dog. I went to the gym and then I basically set up. I went to the mountains. I took the notes for the interviews that I wanted to do, and I went and I started interviewing people. And again, like when you want to take a step, what you effectively do is you kind of like lean back and prepare for it, or observe to see what's the best angle to take to move forward. I think that does work, but that works when you kind of know what the fuck you're doing, and and you only know what the fuck you're doing is when you kind of fucked up a lot. But awkwardly enough, I think when you're like in a place for so long where all you're doing is kind of like observing before you take a step forward, you forget that you're taking a step forward in a comfortable place that you have, and in a place that's not really comfortable for you because you're doing something new. That really takes that courageous approach that I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but I'm going to do it. And that's the humility that I was talking about. Because like the more I stuck to failure yesterday night, the easier it was for me to explore the fact that I have a day to do shit. and I did 3 interviews today. The last one was like random because like I was walking back home and I passed by a pub, which I asked if that's the music that they played. And the woman responded that yes, it was the music back in the day, like a week ago or something. But there's a DJ. So I came today, I was passing and she was like, I took your advice. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she was like, I'm playing my music now on only DJs on Saturday. We're saving money and we're creating a vibe. And I'm like, fuck yeah, man. And then I looked at her and I was like, I thought I knew you because she used to work in another place in the area. And she was like, yeah. And then she was like, you should come by for a beer and enjoy the music. And I'm like, I would actually. I want to think about some stuff and write some notes down about the day. So, and I asked her if it's dog friendly, and she said yes. So because of that, I actually went to the place. I had a chat with her, kind of like dismantled a lot of statements that she said. It's funny because like when you're always kind of like listening to people and asking questions based on what they're stating, you get to explore a lot more through them of yourself. And you kind of like reflect on the things that you do that they're kind of like exhibiting or you did, depending on like, well, the key is humbleness, right? Because like, you still do this shit. It's just you don't do that as obviously as you did before because you got past that. And those are basically the experience, the deeper experiences. I think we could call deeper when it comes to experiences because like when you're experiencing something, you kind of have to like circle down to the nitty details, and then it's no longer experience; it's a part of you. And then we had a conversation, and then we're gonna basically properly get the interview. I sustained an hour and a half conversation with her without telling her what I do, and I did it on purpose because if I tell her what I did, then she'll basically be answering the questions of the interview. Remember, we're having a discussion guide like interview where I kind of like understand what people in the field are doing in order for me to get the information I need in order to build. But today also gave me different ideas because now I'm gonna set up my website and I'm gonna set it up as basic as possible and have like a QR code that leads to a page, and then from there introducing them in a way to what I'm doing and having people connect with me directly to ask for interviews. And just like random ideas, and I took my notes, and then I came back home, and why the fuck not? Let's do a video. I don't know if it's worth it right now to do the video that I'm looking at, but in all honesty, the video of today is something that I've talked about a couple of times. And it's funny because like when you write something down, you don't really like the video is to be done after I finish the notes leading to it. But the actual like thought of it is growing as you kind of like progress in your conversations, or at least mine. So today's video is relaxing your subconscious assumptions. And I've mentioned it before, it's just like in an anime that I actually watched. And maybe I can relate that to the fact that we get very opinionated about like the statements that we make. And I think that's like our subconscious kind of like vibes off, right? Because our subconscious is fueled by our determination, probably. And our determination goes in all ways possible because we get to decide where to point it at. Should I use pointing or project? Yes, I think we point our determination towards something, and what we project is our behavior or kind of like our innermost assumptions of it. Why the fuck not, man? That seems to work. So, relaxing our subconscious assumptions is allowing us to be basically our at I don't want to use the term humble again because I think we're at fault for assuming anything. Anytime we assume anything, we're making a mistake. I think that's what all people have who have had their words last through time, and I'm talking historically, the people that we listen to, the literates, the learned, the philosophers, the people that kind of like drove the world into a different direction. All of them speak about humility in a way that makes us kind of realize that we do need an ego to look to express ourselves into the world until there's no need for it. And then effectively what's left are the truth behind us. And that could only be achieved when you realize that any assumption you make is basically an assumption you're making from where you're at, which could definitely be invalid in the future. Most of the time, it really just serves you temporarily. And relaxing your subconscious assumptions, I'm going to reflect on the failure that I did yesterday, that I called myself out for yesterday. And I still don't have no idea what the failure is, but I know today was a fucking success in comparison to the past 2 weeks that I've been kind of like feeling floaty. And I've done a lot of stuff the past 2 weeks. I did 2 websites and I learned a new technology and I redesigned my database and I'm thinking about it differently and I'm considering things differently. So that's a lot, but still like that feeling, right? And declaring failure because like all the things that I'm doing don't seem to have found their place yet. That declaration of failure kind of like called me out and allowed any assumptions I had to kind of like alleviate from their grip, which is definitely welcoming new things into my field of vision and allowing my reality to capture new things from my external environment. It's a video. Why the fuck not?